I'm Tony.
And I'm Alex,
And
and
we're
we're Inside Information.
Today we'll be discussing Shrek, made in 2001. Tell me about it, Alex.
As you said, it was released on May 18th of 2001 at a budget, if I remember correctly, it was 60 million, and it made a profit of 491.8 million,
That's
which
a
is
lot of
actually
profit.
really good. It was based off of a children's book by an 80-year-old man in the 1990s. And you know the word Shrek, the name Shrek actually comes from, I want to say Finnish, but that might be wrong.
Yeah, I think you mean Yiddish.
Yiddish. You're right. Word that's Shreklek,
Shrekelek. Yeah.
which means monster. So that's actually where they got that word from. It's actually inducted into the National Film Registry as one of the movies that we did before. Back to the Future also was, and it is the animators actually, fun fact, they took a shower in mud so that they would know how to animate it better, make it seem more
Animate mud?
realistic. Yeah,
Yeah.
animate mud. So they took mud showers every once in a while. It was directed by Andrew Adamson.
Yeah.
He hasn't really made that many more notable films. And it actually won the first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah.
Since that was an award before, but then they turned it into one after Shrek.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about Shrek is its iconicness, which we'll get into in a moment.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. The beginning of the film, it's a very iconic beginning, in my opinion. The light on the book shines down. He reads the fairy tale about the prince house locked in the castle.
And then
What he
rips
proceeds
out
to do is that he rips out the page and he wipes his butt with it. And then he leaves his outhouse. And then, you know the song.
Yeah.
By All Star. Somebody wants to win the world. Yeah, that song is great.
It's iconic. It's like just known for that film. Like if you think about that song, I personally think of Shrek then.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear
I'm,
it, but
I'm sure you're with the majority of people that think about Shrek when they hear that song.
yeah, I mean it's a classic now.
Yeah, and the montage at the beginning is good, and the way they show the credits of the actors' names is very creative in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it is really
Like,
creative
with maggots
honestly.
and stuff like that. That was pretty creative. And so, what did you think about Shrek after you saw that?
Shrek at first, honestly, I thought it was lonely. I mean, at first, the first
Well.
time I thought, like when I was rewatching it so that we could analyze it again, the first time I saw it, I really didn't think anything because I was young and I just was watching the movie. But now that I rewatch it, I feel like he was lonely. Maybe that might be hindsight heralding, but I mean, it might as
He
well,
was lonely. I think.
he was really lonely. He didn't have anyone. He just scared everyone off. So I guess it was kind of sad of him to do, but still, it was.
I think he was more alone than lonely. Like, I think he liked being alone.
He
But
was
and then later on
alone.
in the film, he admits that like he doesn't like it necessarily that much. But in the beginning, he seems to enjoy it quite a lot.
He seems to enjoy it, but I think subconsciously he wanted to be with someone. But I mean, we won't really see any of that until later. So
Yeah, and then one of my favorite characters, Lord Farquaad, he was capturing all the animals in the forest in the cages,
Oh, yeah.
and Papa Bear, Mama Bear. I remember that scene quite well. And so then in that scene, Pinocchio gets introduced. I really like that too, and also Donkey, which is also a really great character, that in my opinion.
oh yeah, Donkey's
Yeah,
really
in my opinion, he carries the films.
Eddie Murphy. Yeah,
Eddie Murphy, he is a great.
Eddie Murphy's always been great, and the majority of
I
roles that I've
liked
seen
the
him, he's
Nutty
always been.
Professor.
Oh yeah,
That was pretty good, and Norbit. I don't think you know that one.
I don't think I know that one either.
But you know,
Yeah.
it's a great one, and
And yeah, okay, so Donkey gets introduced but he acts like he's a real donkey just because they were giving prizes, money, to whoever brought in a fairy tale character. And so a lady brought in Donkey because she said it was a talking donkey, and he acted crazy like he didn't believe it. But then they eventually got him to talk, and
yes, and he ran away scared, and that's how he ran into Shrek. And then Shrek scared off like not intentionally all the
guards.
the knights, the
yeah, and he
guards
said the phrase,
away.
"You and what army?"
Yeah, and so then Donkey was stuck with him, and he kept harassing him the whole film, which
Yeah,
I
it was
found
kind of a
great.
great introduction for Donkey. I really like the character. Also, you mentioned it before, but they introduced Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. I don't remember. I don't know if you realize this, but in the film they actually show Mama Bear as a carpet.
As a
later
carpet
on.
in Lord Farquaad's castle.
Yeah,
so
so that's
sad.
kind of
Poor Baby Bear.
yeah.
And
And I
so
mean,
that-
they do also show just Papa Bear and Baby Bear later on in the film, no Mama Bear. So
So
it
that
does
confirms
explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Are you laughing
Shrek.
about
It's
this?
kind of funny. And then Shrek
Psychopath.
goes to his swamp, and then he finds a bunch of fairy tale creatures,
Yeah.
throughout his home. Then a bunch of other squatters,
Hmm.
and so then he's like, "What are you doing in my swamp?" And so then there's only one person knew who sent them
Yep.
there, and that was Donkey. And so then Shrek and Donkey went on a journey to go
To
to Lord
find Lord
Farquaad.
Farquaad.
Yeah.
You know, were you surprised when Shrek brought Donkey in?
Oh no, because I was the only one that knew the address of his palace, so he had no
That's true.
choice. Either that or everyone else was lying when they said they didn't.
I think everyone else was lying, honestly, because I mean, I
Probably
wouldn't
scared
want
of
to go
Shrek.
face Lord Farquaad if I were them. So I don't. I think they were just sort of backing off. But
Yeah.
then Donkey didn't really have any, you know, sense of anything. He was just really,
Yeah.
really donkey-ish.
Yeah.
So
Donkeys are like one of the dumbest animals in the animal kingdom.
yeah, I guess it's really fitting for his character.
Yeah. And so then he joined Shrek. And so Shrek went to Lord Farquaad's castle,
Yeah.
and he beat all his knights in the field when they were fighting him. And I thought that was a really cool scene because it had a cool song. I like Bad Reputation by Joan
But
Jett. and
oh, I
Blackheart.
don't remember that.
And
Song.
I really like that. I really like that song. And so then Lord Farquaad sent him on a quest to retrieve Fiona, Princess Fiona, from the castle that had the dragon.
Yeah. Oh, but you actually skipped over a part. The introduction of Lord Farquaad.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
he actually wanted to Shrek to go find Princess Fiona.
Yeah.
So Lord Farquaad was kind of a psychopath there. He was torturing the gingerbread man. I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
for
I forgot
that
about that scene. That
iconic
scene's a good
scene.
scene. Yeah, with that guy. What's his name? Miscellaneous or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
It
but
was something like that.
and the guy in the mirror,
the
mirror on the wall.
the mirror, the
Magic
mirror from the magic mirror from
Yeah.
Snow White and other things like that. So they just really threw that in there. But I think my favorite part was do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man. Yeah, I know him because I've seen the other movies. So yes.
Okay.
I do know the movies.
Anyways, yeah, it was a really it was a funny scene for me, and I really liked that part and
Yes.
how they were torturing the gingerbread man and
So you like the
everything.
torture?
No,
Wow,
I
that's
didn't like the
crazy.
torture. I thought it was just funny how they.
See, it's
they
funny that-
oh, okay.
The funny is that
You're
he
the one
broke
who
his
laughed at the
legs,
dead
that
mommy
he drowned him
bear.
in milk. Yeah, that's hilarious. And
You're the one who laughed at the dead mommy bear that they
because it
told
happens in
her.
real life.
Huh? The gingerbread man is fine.
Yeah,
He
gingerbread.
survives, and
Yeah,
yeah,
he-
actually, the actor who played the gingerbread man co-directed the Shrek 2.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, Gingerbread Man's a good character.
yeah. He should have
he's
deserved
great.
his own film, in my opinion.
He had a short film.
He had
I
a short
think,
film?
on Netflix. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Not really a film, but like an episodic film type thing.
Oh, yeah, I haven't
or
seen it.
whatever.
I'll check it
I'm
out.
not entirely sure. And so
Yeah.
then he was sent on a quest to find Fiona, and they had
Because he wanted a wife. Lord Farquaad wanted
Yeah,
a
Lord
wife.
Farquaad, yeah, 'cause
and the
then-
mirror showed them a
because
few
if he didn't
different-
have a wife, he wouldn't be king. So
Yeah.
he needed Princess
he
Fiona.
needed a queen.
And so then Shrek went on the journey, and so then he made it to
The castle with Donkey.
surrounded by lava, and so then they got across in the bridge, and Shrek was carrying Donkey the whole time. That was a funny
Yeah.
scene.
And then they introduced the dragon.
Yeah, the dragon. Yeah,
Yeah.
eventually, and then the dragon tried killing Donkey until like they locked eyes or something, and then the dragon fell in love.
Oh no,
with
yeah, the
Donkey.
dragon fell in love with him and he
Yeah.
tried flirting with her
Yeah.
so that she wouldn't kill him and Shrek could go get the princess, and they eventually did. And that's how it worked out. And so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they got the princess. She tried to do a whole romantic princess salvation type scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, "Oh, my hero," and everything. But then as we know, Shrek isn't really a romantic person, so he just carries her and they run out of the castle with the dragon.
On their
Who-
tail.
Yeah, the dragon on the tail, but the dragon is still chained, so she actually gets trapped in there. Sadly, I feel bad for the dragon. Man.
Nah, the dragon deserved it, man.
No,
Trying to kill-
the
trying to
dragon's
kill- Then
nice.
again, they're intruders, so.
They were
whatever.
introduced. I feel bad for the dragon. I think she deserved better.
Yeah, and so then Shrek essentially abducted the princess, but
Yeah.
she wanted that to happen.
The salvation. So
But
Just
like
trying
he
to
didn't know
princess.
she didn't know he was an ogre until he showed her. Until then, he didn't want to go with them back to Lord Farquaad, and so then he had
because
to carry
she
her.
realized that he wasn't the person who was saving her.
Prince
he wasn't
Charming.
he wasn't Prince Charming.
Yeah.
Lord Farquaad was supposed to be saving her, but he didn't go because he's Lord Farquaad.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
anyways,
So I don't think
So-
he should have removed his helmet.
I honestly don't think so either. But what do you think about her stubbornness?
So it was pretty annoying considering she's been locked in that castle all those years. I'd be happy to get out no matter what.
Right?
But I guess I kind of understand at the same time because like she was kind of planning and hoping for Prince Charming.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
I
kind
mean,
of understand, but at the same time, it's like, come on, don't be that stubborn.
yeah.
Where Shrek has to carry you for like, a good,
Yeah, and then
good
Shrek
time.
did carry her for the majority of the trip.
Yeah.
Until they were attacked by Robin Hood and his merry men.
Oh yeah, I like those
When,
guys.
yeah, when they tried to free her from the ogre.
Mm-hmm.
But then she turned on them, and I actually saw a Matrix reference in there.
Yeah.
Did you see that too?
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
did.
she's a great fighter, which is interesting because they show it a lot throughout the other films as well. So it's kind of a thing with her character. It's,
Yeah.
It's important to her character arc.
Yeah.
And so she defeated Robin Hood and the Merry Men.
And Shrek actually starts, I think, liking her there.
Yeah.
Because of,
Yes,
she
yes,
was
he does.
crazy and
And he got
combative
shot
everyone.
in the bow with an arrow,
Yeah.
Shrek. And so then Fiona got rid of Donkey. It's just, for him to stop talking for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so then Donkey started shipping them as well, which is very interesting. And
I didn't expect that. And so, one of the other things that happened after that, she decides to be nice after she hears Shrek talking to Donkey about how Shrek thinks he's ugly and that nobody likes him because of his appearance.
Yeah.
And so she feels bad for him then. And then she starts, helping them and going on their journey and everything.
Yeah.
And so one interesting part that I thought, at least, was how she got breakfast. She cooked breakfast for them.
Yeah,
and
she killed the birds, yeah.
yeah, she sort of sung until a bird exploded with her high-pitched voice, and then she stole the eggs to make fried eggs. So I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of brutal of her. For a
Yeah, and
princess.
also another thing this movie has going for it is the soundtrack. I mentioned a few songs, but I didn't mention the soundtrack as a whole. I think it's a lot of great songs at the end credits, the montage where she killed the birds, those other two songs I mentioned. Very, very good soundtrack for a movie.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's a really good
That goes
soundtrack.
also with the second movie as well, and that's something at least those two movies have in common is a great soundtrack, and I really like that. And so then after that, all that they go to an old mill right before going to the castle.
Yeah.
Because Fiona didn't want to head to the castle because she was going to turn into an ogre, because it was already turning dark. And so then later on in the night, Donkey finds Fiona, and she's an ogre, and he got scared. But then he started to understand after she explained why she was like that.
And she wanted to tell Shrek, but then Donkey came, as you said, and she was talking about how she thought she was ugly and that nobody would like her, and she just referred to herself as an ugly beast, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%
And then
sure.
Shrek overheard that thinking
And
she
she
was
thought it
talking
was
about
okay.
him. And
Yeah.
so then that made him upset.
Yeah, that frustrated him. I mean, I understand that, honestly. Because, I mean, it is pretty sad to hear,
Yeah.
ugly ogre and everything like that.
Yeah.
And-
I'd be upset too. I mean, it's expected at the same time, but like, yeah, I'd be upset if I was called ugly.
And I don't remember what part was next. Oh yeah, then Shrek goes to Lord Farquaad and they bring them over, so that Lord Farquaad can actually take Fiona to the castle and marry her as a princess.
Yes.
And so Shrek didn't have to
And then
follow
Shrek
her the
makes
rest of the
the
way.
entire journey back to his house, and he's lonely, and then Donkey
Appears.
follows him. Yeah. And so then he realizes that he made a mistake and that he wants her back. And so then Donkey, somehow I kind of forgot he had dragon.
Oh
to
yeah,
help
the
her out,
dragon.
And so then she flew them to the Lord Farquaad's castle, and so then as soon as they were about to do the kiss or whatever,
Shrek
Shrek
interrupted.
was like, "I object," which I like when movies do that.
I really
always wanna
don't. I
see-
think it's too cliche.
No, it's too cliche. That's why I love it. It's like
Really?
no one ever does it. So it's like in real life. I mean,
In real life, no
like
one
I
does it.
really wish someone would do that in real life. Like I object. Like what do you do after someone says that?
I know.
Like everything's awkward. And we're just like, yeah,
Just,
you
like,
object now. What?
confused about everything.
You ruined the wedding.
It's like you're ruining the moment. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, in that film, it was pretty justified, and so
Yeah.
Shrek declares his love for her, and
and Lord Farquaad makes fun of him, and
Yeah.
then
she starts turning into an ogre.
Oh yeah, she shows Shrek that, and his reaction was funny, and then all the guards attacked them and stuff.
Yeah, they try to arrest Shrek and Fiona as well.
Yeah.
But then the dragon comes in and she eats Lord Farquaad, which I thought
that
was
was
interesting.
funny. Yeah.
And after that, they share True Love's kiss, which was supposed to transform her back to her natural self instead of the curse of her turning into an ogre every
Yeah.
night. But she actually stayed an ogre.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, of course, because, like, their true love is an ogre, so she stayed an ogre, so that kind of makes sense, sort
I
of.
thought it was pretty funny.
And so then they transitioned into another good song, "I'm a Believer," but technically it's by the Monkees, but it's a cover version by All Star.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so then I really that version I think is better than the original version.
Really?
And yeah, I think the other version is too old fashioned. I think for me, and that's kind of saying something. And so
Oh
then
yeah, really old fashioned sense of music.
yeah, and so then like they get married essentially in the swamp, uh, and so then they drive away in the stagecoach in the onion stagecoach
Oh yeah.
together, and then that's the end. And Donkey's singing the song, I think also.
No,
So you know Eddie Murphy has a good voice. Like he was popular in terms of like music in the '80s, and so like it
I
makes
mean,
sense
Eddie
that
Murphy
he
does
was
everything in my opinion.
yeah, he's really good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And so yeah, it's essentially the end of the film. So did you think that was one of the best like animated films, at least for the time?
I really liked it, but if I'm being honest, this might be a bit biased since this was a movie that defined my childhood, and also my parents would watch it at least once a month with me when I was
Oh,
younger. Was Emperor's New Groove.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really important movie for me, and I still love it.
Oh, cool. And
And
what would you rate the Shrek film?
I would give it since it's it actually saved DreamWorks because they were in a
Oh yeah.
problem of financial and it really just is an iconic film all around. So I'd
Yeah.
say I'd give it an 8 out of 10. 8.5.
Yeah, I give it an 8.5 as well. I think the Shrek series carried the 2000s in my opinion,
Oh, no.
especially the first two. I don't know about the third one. I'll have
The
to get back
third
to you on
one
that. That one
was,
was kind of mid. But
and
the
the-
fourth one I actually like. Some
You
people
really
don't
thi-
like it, but I actually really like the
Yeah, there
fourth
was reports of a fifth Shrek film being in the works.
one. Yeah.
Like the director said that it was, but I'm not so sure about that because I think that was 2019 or 2017.
And they
It was
made
in
a new
those years.
Puss in Boots movie, and a lot of people saying it's really good. I haven't watched it, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
really
I've
like
heard a
the
lot.
animation style. Like, I think it's
I
too,
mean, the
think it's kinda
difference is
bland.
because no, it's not bland. I haven't seen it either, but I've seen
Like,
clips
it's
of
not
it.
as realistic, like, not realistic, but, like,
It's
the
really-
style of Shrek. Like, I really like that style.
It's because
more of
the
a-
Shrek thing was more humorous.
Yeah.
The Puss in Boots 2 one animation is more in depth, I think, and they really just show a lot of characteristics where they didn't, where they animate a person to be as realistic as possible. But in Shrek, we can see Lord Farquaad, who isn't really.
I mean, Lord Farquaad looks pretty good, but the other characters are
I mean,
kinda
he
just
doesn't
there.
look that good if you're being honest. Like realistic as
For
a
a
person.
2001 film, I
But
think
does
it's
he
great.
look realistic as a person though? That's a big
Like,
question.
I mean, I suppose.
really?
Anyway.
he supposes.
Thank you
It's
for
okay.
joining us for this episode of Inside Information. We'll see you next week with another doozy. Bye.